talks since 2017, I think. So we have Yasser, which is a senior DevOps. And today he will talk a bit about how you can save some secrets with AWS and Terraform. A few months ago, he gave a talk about Kubernetes. Everyone liked it. And he shared with us how they use Kubernetes at their company. So if you have a question about Kubernetes, you can ask him as well. And our second speaker is Suprit as well. This is the first time he gave a talk, but I attend an amazing talk with him for an event. So that's why we invited him for today's event. And he's a senior manager for startup at AWS. And he will talk about Graviton 2 is the answer. Do you have a question? I really like this title. So please do prepare your questions from now for Soprit. Before we get started, just like you can, if you have any question following us on YouTube or on Google Meet, drop it in the comments, or you can unmute yourself and ask directly our speaker. If you are not asking any question, please help like mute yourself so we don't hear any noises. We will stay for like a few minutes, maybe 10 minutes networking sessions after the meetup. So we'll stop the live video and we can just have a chat about anything cloud related or non-cloud related if you guys want. So we'll start with Suprit. So I will pass it to you from here. Suprit, you can share your screen and get started.
All right, I'm definitely unmuted. I want to check if everyone can see me. There is no presentation deck. As an administrivia in this conversation, Monad asked that you should be asking questions. I would say ask really hard questions. I'm not going to go for the easy ones.
Okay, guys, you heard the man. We want today to ask him questions until he said, I don't know the answer. I need to check with the management.
Yeah. Challenge accepted. So basically, I'll point out that EC2 forms the fabric of literally every architectural infrastructure that you're building. We're probably building things out there, and there is EC2 underneath. Either EC2 directly that our customers are using, or they are being used by other services in some way or the other. Guess what S3 would use for sending HTTP requests. Guess how IAM keys are served. Guess how, as an example, ALBs are built. These are probably sitting on an EC2 instance, right? So considering that it's a foundational service, it's often great idea to revisit what kind of instances, what kind of systems you're using. And what I really want to specifically talk about is one instance type which has been there in our portfolio for long. There are in fact more than 400 instance types, if I'm not wrong. But I want to specifically look at Graviton, which is AWS's own processor type. It's been launched a few years back. It started out with what is called the A1 series, which was called Graviton 1 internally. That's the first architectural release that we had. And after that, Graviton 2, which is released in form of 6G, sixth generation Graviton. So the instance types would be M6G, R6G, CX, C6G, and so on and so forth. And there'll be several variations to it because there are configurations related to disk usage, NVMe configurations, and so on and so forth. So you'd find a gamut of instance types within this portfolio of instances. Why I'm really excited about it is that these instance types are blazingly fast. It's unbelievable how fast they are. And I've been in the industry for a very long time. That's why I have white hair. In fact, that's an advertisement that I have white hair because I've worked very long in the industry. So I started out my career in data center racking and stacking. So, have seen progression in terms of how performance has increased over a period of time. Typically, what I see is year on year performance increase of 15 to 20%, and that's an ordinary thing unless there is a jump. As an example, a transformational jump was when something like AMD 64 came out in form of Optron processor. That was a huge jump in performance, and because the amount of RAM that you could address was much more as compared to something which was 32-bit. Similar jump happened few years later when Xeon architecture came. Lots of cache, high, like rich availability and good fabric of caching, and hence allowing the processor to really perform well. And I think in recent past there hasn't been that jump. There have been iterative 15% because processors are becoming smaller and they can sort of work really fast. But if you look from a jump perspective, I think the jump that I've seen today with Graviton, I haven't seen for a very long time. And I get impressed and shocked that this processor is available and is available to the customers to use and create their magical products out of it. So very happy to go into each line of thought here, which includes things like where are the places that you would use Graviton, and probably where are the places you can't use it, at least now. Another one would be what are the kind of risks that you face? Because frankly speaking, if you're continuing with what you have today and iteratively get 15% jump by just changing generation, why bother about Graviton at all? And I would probably answer that question first before going into what are the kind of risk that you're not taking by looking at Graviton. So as an example, straight away 20% reduction in cost as compared to what you're paying right now on your EC2 instances. That's upfront saving that you're making. After that, in most workloads that we have worked with our customers, they are delighted to see 40% jump in performance. 40% jump. I'm going to pause here and repeat. 40% jump in performance.
Show Soprit some reaction, guys.
Don't need to. I know that it's a shock when you say that 40% increase in performance. This is something that I did my own benchmarks and I got shocked. This is never seen, right? And beyond that, what I also see is because AWS has come up with the processor, it does not mean that AWS is going to be the only sort of producer. We see that our customers see we had that experience of building out on our customers' value, and we picked that idea up first and pushed it out into a data center. But I personally see this happening across all kind of clouds, that you'll be seeing ARM64 and Graviton like processors across all kind of clouds and data centers. This is going to be the what do you call the daily driver of systems 3 years from now. That's and I'm making a very bold crystal ball statement, which is that ARM64 architecture is essentially going to take over data centers. And that, again, I will go back to why that's my assertion. And the reason is that what we don't realize is that the server, the rack itself, is only 1/3 of the cost of running a server for 3 years. It's the power, it's the cooling, which really takes up the 2/3 of the cost. And anyone who's watching from a financial background, how a data center is running, and they want to run it profitably, they would want to run ARM64 processors, because from a power perspective, it uses 1/3 the amount of power. It saves electricity. It saves your turtles in the water because you are not using electricity. You're not using as much cooling as you would probably be using if you were using conventional data center processors today. So it's a dramatically big assertion that I'm making, which is that 3 years down, you'll be seeing ARM64 as the most extensively used processor type in the data center, not just cloud, not just AWS. I'll pause for a moment for questions.
I have a question. So now you are telling us that we will get 40% better performance, right? Is there any catch here or there? Like, are we sacrificing something else, like price, something else beside that, or same price to normal servers?
You're saving 20% on price upfront.
I'm saving as well 20%.
So stacked up, it comes to 60% saving.
Okay.
So you got one free processor for your cost, roughly speaking. So you got like maybe 1/5 of a processor for cost of one. That's the easiest way to sort of measure it up.
Awesome. Sounds great.
There is a catch, which is that ARM64 is not the same architecture. It's a different architecture. It's so I was having a conversation with a customer, and they said, so it's a Raspberry Pi in the cloud. Ha ha ha. In theory, it is. It's definitely the same architecture, but look at it as a superscalar, high performance, out of order architecture with 64 cores and immense amount of memory, L2 cache and L3 cache. It's it's not a comparison on even if we were to compare it as Fiat and Ferrari comparison, it still does not fit in with Raspberry Pi versus Graviton comparison. But if you're looking from architecture perspective, your mobile phones, your Raspberry Pis are exactly the same architecture as what you're seeing in the data center with Graviton 2. So that's the catch. So you would need to start building your applications for this architecture, which in many cases is really easy because we are not using compiled languages. So you're not really dealing with microarchitecture on a day-to-day basis. So if you're using Python, if you're using Node.js, if you're using Rails, PHP, all those applications will run on Graviton 2, and it'll be seamless. And on a developer side also, there is a very interesting sort of convergence that is happening, because Apple's M1 processor is in fact an ARM64 processor. So you can take a Docker image created on Apple and put it on Graviton. So it closes that loop between developer side of inquiry, which is how do you create systems or create a Docker image, and how do you deploy. So that story becomes really complete. Although you could also use code pipeline or integration with your CI/CD pipeline and spin off a Graviton instance to create Docker as well. So there are various sort of, from an ecosystem perspective, the support is there for you to really deploy Graviton for your architecture, for your
Sounds really great. So Pete, you have some input on the chat. Do you want to as well read it, or?
Absolutely. I'll go through it.
Awesome.
Yes, absolutely. There is, of course, a rider. Right? The rider here is that it also depends on the workload. So when I say 40% performance increase, it's not going to be uniform. So as an example, if you have got so let's establish where you will get 40% performance increase, which is SMT kind of workload, symmetric multi-threading kind of workload, where you can distribute your workload across many cores. You would be able to get 40% increase in performance. However, if your workload requires you to, in fact, the cores to coordinate with each other. So a classic example of coordination is that you're doing some sort of transformation which requires mathematics at a very large matrix scales. Classic example would be weather forecasting. So those are the cases where it's not that SMT. You need to have messaging across each other to be able to coordinate things, and that's where typically an SMT loaded processor doesn't work. When you have web as an example, you find that it's outrageously like threaded model really works very well. So if you have as many cores, you'd be able to run parallel that many sort of HTTP requests, and your throughput really increases as you grow with the number of CPUs. So Yasser, in most of the cases, we find that 40% is not a marketing spiel. It's actually the kind of performance that you get. And I'm not using the word "it depends." In vast majority of the use cases, we find 40% increase in performance. And why do you have a 50 CPU core for pods in EK? Okay. So I am a bit confused about the number of pods and nodes. Are you saying that you have 50 CPUs in your nodes and then you run several pods on that?
Yeah, microservices. Each microservice got its own request, so we spread the pods across multiple nodes to fulfill this.
So the total number of core count that you're talking about is the node count.
No, the CPU cores. Currently, we are using
50 CPU cores. Okay.
Yeah,
So if I were to also go back and put on my performance hat and talk about that, I would also see like how to switch off the hyperthreading. So in some use cases, we find that hyperthreading is not a great idea, and in EC2 on Linux, you have an option to switch off hyperthreading as well. So instead of it system advertising 2 cores, it will advertise 1, and that in fact increases the throughput. But yes, Graviton typically we find, and there are public studies not done by us but by our customers, where they have not only increased their performance by 40%, there have been stacked performance increase of 60%. HelloDoc is one specific public study that you can refer to, where they have a mixed cluster. Mixed cluster here means that they in fact have multi-architecture. So they have nodes which are running AMD, and then they have nodes which are running Graviton, and they have got significant performance boost. And it's publicly referenced study, published on their blog. You're using C for X large. As a mental model, I would always, and Ahilan and I were in fact having a discussion about this a moment before we kicked off this conversation, which is that always try to use the latest instance type, because that's the cheapest. So you'll find that C4 instance type is expensive and less performative than, let's say, if I were to try it out today, the instance type would be C6I extra large. And even if you don't move to Graviton, that will be cheaper, and it will give you, roughly speaking, 40% boost. So if you move to Graviton, you're probably looking at half of the number of CPU cores that you're running. But then you would also want to run a high availability infrastructure. So probably what I would suggest is looking at downsizing your node size and move to Graviton simultaneously.
Okay, sure. I think I will give it a try on UAT first.
Yeah. In fact, a lot of customers are in pipeline using it in dev and UAT platforms. and looking at starting off on production as well. Now that we are talking about production, there is an interesting situation as well. So many of the managed services are on Graviton too, and you get about 10% reduction in cost straight away by shifting your managed services to Graviton, along with the same performance characteristic change. So classic example is databases. So if you're using RDS or Aurora and you're not using Graviton, that's a situation.
And you already have a lot of customers. I mean, you are working a lot with startups now. Are they already running things on production now, or they still experiment with it on development and staging?
We have many startups using Graviton in production today. In ASEAN, we have immense amount of startups, and HelloDoc is fairly large. It's not considered a startup from our structural perspective. So you can imagine the kind of scale that they are running on, and they are using Graviton very extensively. Yeah. So this is production workload that I'm referring in the blog post.
Awesome. Sounds great.
So going back, the question really comes down to, is it a toy processor? And the answer is absolutely no. It's a very serious architecture. ARM64 has existed for close to 10 years now, and that translates into almost all the libraries software that you're looking at today. There is an ARM64 equivalent of that. uh, Take Debian repository as an example, or Ubuntu repository. You'll find most of the software that you're using on a day-to-day basis has ARM64 version of it, and it's easy to install just as you would do on any package management tool. Sorry, I think, Monad, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
No, actually, you just answered my question. Yeah, when you said there are already a lot of startup using that in the production. So I got my answer.
Yeah, there are. So I'm not going to say that it's absolutely like you press a button and it's done. One of the things that you need to look at is native libraries. So as an example, if you're running code which has underlying libraries, let's say a classic example in case of Java is JNI interfaces. So open the jar file and you find a .so file in it, then probably it's got a native binary sitting next to it, and that native binary would need to be recompiled. So your vendor who's producing this needs to have two versions of it. So in the jar file should contain a 8.6 as well as ARM64 version of the GNI library that they have created. Now I'm getting into the weeds of it. Most of the time you don't even know that it has happened. It's a rare occasion that you find a high performance library coming from third party that that requires that kind of due diligence. Most of the time what you do is essentially open the jar file, sail past the whole set of dependencies and go, yeah, we are ready for Graviton. Same for Python, same for Node.js, same for Rails, same for PHP. So these are the dominant languages that I see in the region, and we have really not faced much problems. In case of C++ or Golang or Rust, you would need to recompile since these create native binaries. And that too is like you essentially say that my target is going to be ARM64 and you're ready to go.
Is there a difference with image building as well for ARM64?
Yes. So in case of code pipeline, Shardul, could you mute yourself for a moment? Yeah, thank you. So when you are creating the image, Docker image here, then what you would do is that there is a tool called BuildX. What it does is it spins off a sort of a ARM64 emulated instance and builds the whole system inside that. Because if you're using a 8.6 system, there are only two options. Either you have an ARM64 system to build on, or you have a cross-compiling system. Cross-compiling systems are really hard to put together and keep it running and keep them updated. So people at Docker have come up with this really neat stuff, which is called BuildX. What it does is it spins off a QMU, which is an emulator inside your system. It spins it off, runs a ARM64 system on it, and then creates a Docker image and brings it back to your Intel system. Other option is to use code pipeline, where it will spin off a Graviton instance, a actual physical instance, and create the binary and bring it back to you. And now that we are on the question of Docker images, so the ECR system, which is AWS's own registry system for Docker, really knows that this is a Graviton image or an 8.6 image. So in case of your EKS cluster, if you label it that this node is going to be Graviton and you label your image correct, then it picks up the right image. So you can in fact run multi-architecture system as well within the same EKS governance system.
Great. I have one. So now I like the features and everything. So when do you usually say to the customers, okay, you shouldn't go to Graviton, you shouldn't use Graviton? Is there any scenarios where you say that?
I'll be very specific about it. So let's break it down on specific situations, which is that you've got a third-party tool which is certified on Intel, as an example. That's one place where you really can't pitch Graviton and make it work. It's hard because the ISV needs to certify, ISV needs to have proper ARM64 binaries before we can proceed. Second situation is where you have ML of a specific kind, where you're going to use GPUs. As of today, it's important part here is, as of today, the GPU infrastructure is not connected to Graviton yet. It may change tomorrow, so you should be looking at this set of news about Graviton being that you start to get Graviton capable instances with GPUs. But as of today, that's not the case. So if you're doing ML workloads, Graviton is not ready for that. If you're going to do your inferences on the CPU, then you're still fine. Another one is AI is a different ball game altogether. So AI and ML is, let me disambiguate. AI is a superset which includes ML as one of the set ideas. Now, another classic AI ML AI kind of conversation is use of things like Monte Carlo simulation or constraint programming or linear programming, or that category of problems. In fact, Graviton is a more pertinent processor than because the same performance characteristics apply as general purpose. So definitely, if you've got problems which so a classic example of constraint programming is route finding. So using grab and it finds route. That's AI and not ML, and that will work really well with Graviton. Another one is you want to write a chess engine. Chess engine would be a classic Graviton conversation. You would want to build a chess engine on Graviton. That's one. If you're doing ML, so anything involves TensorFlow, PyTorch, that's where I would still say you would prefer to have GPU backed instances, because the performance is just blazingly high as compared to Graviton. You're probably not going to see value in that. So those are the really very narrowed down cases where we do not recommend Graviton. Otherwise, it's a general purpose processor. vast majority of workloads really benefit from the performance characteristics because this is built for cloud.
Awesome. Sounds really great. Subrit, we have 5 minutes for this session. Do you want to share more about Graviton or take some questions?
I would say a few more things, which is that there are few managed services which are available on Graviton. So you absolutely should be taking benefit out of that, because that's so typically when it comes to compute, you need to audit your code base and say that, whether this will work on Graviton or not. Now, if you're using RDS, if you're using Elastic Cache, if you're using EMR, if you're using Elasticsearch, you already have interfaces which are validated. So straight away, you're saving 10% by just switching over your instance type from current 5th generation Intel to Graviton, which is 6G series, and you're done. You don't really need to do much audit on your code base side because these are standard interfaces. So MySQL behaves the same whether it runs on 6G or 5th gen. So might as well see that benefit immediately, and then you could continue on your journey with Graviton.
Just one point you mentioned, like about the managed services, right? If I chose to use Graviton for RDS, for example, for all my projects, what about the SLA? Will it change or it's same for the RDS and managed services?
It's the same.
It's same.
So it's a mature architecture. If an architecture allows for the same kind of stability, why would SLAs change?
Awesome. Then there's no reason then not to save some money, man, on this kind of stuff.
Elastic Cache, RDS, Aurora, EMR, Elasticsearch.
Awesome. Should we take some of the question from the guys before we go to our second speaker, Soprit?
Yes. So only hard questions, like I said.
Only hard question, guys. Do please just unmute yourself and ask directly to Suprit as well. We have some people from Amazon joining, so if you want to ask really hard question, people from Amazon is the right people to ask Suprit because they know all the secrets, man.
Ahilan is a rock star, so he shouldn't be asking the questions.
We have Faz. We have Faz as well from the team from Malaysia joining. So
yeah,
nice.
Faz could definitely ask hard questions. Hassan has a very, very good question, which is that, am I stealing somebody's lunch, or does that mean Ahilan and Supreet get pay raise? Hassan, you would need to disambiguate that. Is it about my and Ahilan's pay raise or only Ahilan's? You could unmute and ask that specifically. Okay. It's a really funny question. So let me start with, whose lunch am I stealing? You're really not stealing anyone's lunch. If AWS is offering a certain price, they understand their economics really well, which translates into there is a lot of value in operating Graviton as a processor, and there is a gentleman by name of Ali Saidi who you should look up this presentation by him. He's one of the team members of Annapurna Lab, which is AWS's processor design outfit. So AWS at some point in time bought Annapurna Labs, and Annapurna designs a lot of internal infrastructure that people don't realize AWS has. As an example, AWS EC2 instances doesn't use the same conventional VM system that use the CPU, the main CPU for running the virtualization. That whole aspect is actually taken care by a separate control layer, which is called Nitro. And it controls the Ethernet systems, it controls, let's say, virtualization, so that the customer really gets the amount of CPU that they are paying for. So there is a lot of innovation going on in that area, and Graviton 2 is really a sort of a next level progression to that innovation. And in that sense, nobody is stealing anyone's lunch in that, so why I'm pointing at Ali Said's presentation is that he talks about the not only the performance of the architecture, which where he's pointing at spec int as a performance benchmark. What he also points in this presentation that Faz has been really, I'm thankful that he's put the link up. He talks about at some point the power consumption to reach that benchmark, and that's somewhere around 1/3 of conventional architectures that we see in data centers. I'm saying 1/3. So nobody's stealing anyone's lunch. AWS has a processor which is operating at a cheaper price, and hence we are pushing the same value back to the customer. Now, the second question is going to remain unanswered, which is that am I or Faz or Ahilan getting a pay raise for getting Graviton on? Yeah, but definitely you can get a pay raise by making your company operationally more efficient.
Awesome. So now Hassan can sleep at night because he's not stealing anyone's lunch. That's
Absolutely
a good answer.
not. In fact, I would say this is more valuable way of saving the turtles and then not using straws, because the amount of power used by data centers is polluting. So in that sense, this is part of Amazon's aspiration to become carbon neutral. So yeah.
Awesome. Great. Do we have one last question, guys, for Supreet? Make it hard, or maybe not, so he'll come back again for another talk.
More than a question, I have something for all those who are attending to click that link. If you are evaluating Graviton, there's a Graviton challenge going on. 31st August is the last day. And if you participate, you are in to go through the process, and it's a AWS challenge. So just look at the link, 31st August being the last day. So yeah.
So what do we win, Kaushik?
I think 500 USD credits and some t-shirt swags coming through.
Here you go, guys.
It's a 4-day challenge that you can do.
And if you need the help, you can reach Supreet about that, so he can help you win.
Absolutely. I recommend this book in case you ever want to start coding on Graviton.
Awesome. Great. That was a great talk, man. I really enjoyed it. It's a bit new without slides. So it was like sitting in a bar and having a conversation with some friends.
Absolutely. I love this kind of conversation. Happy to have come to this amazing group.
Supreet, we should reach you out for our Clubhouse event. So let me and Kaushik see when we are going to have our, maybe not next one, the next one. We are doing now a Clubhouse events. It's similar to what Supreet did now. It's more like conversation and just like ask. So you guys keep an eye on our group. So Supreet, I'll definitely reach out to you for our.
Absolutely. I assume that you guys have worked with Glendon before for the Clubhouse as well, right? So
correct.
He's our star intern.
Correct. Now he's with Microsoft, I think, right? He's not your star anymore. Awesome. Thank you.
He's still a star.
Thank you so much, Supreet. Great presentation, man. I love it. Let's, before we go to Yasser's and talk a bit about Terraform and some DevOps things, we have some hiring announcement from eCloud Valley. They've been looking for so long, man. They are hiring like crazy these days. They're looking for solutions architects, cloud developers, and cloud engineer. And Hassan, the guy who asked, I don't want to eat anyone lunch, is here with us. So you can reach out to him on the email if you want to apply for any of these roles. Okay.
With experience?
Sorry?
With experience or junior or something?
Hassan, do you want to answer this question? This, I think, it's important corner for us to provide some jobs for the guys from the community. So he's asking, do you need experience or what's the level?
So there are some criteria. So I would say that plus point if you have any cloud experience, whether it's AWS or Azure or any other cloud. Plus point if you work in a pre-sale or consulting, and plus point if you have hands-on technical experience. In terms of amount of years of experience, we are quite open, whether you are junior or senior and whatnot. Yeah, we are quite desperate looking for people. We have so many projects that needs to be done in AWS. So yeah.
Okay, can I connect with you after the meeting or?
Just send me an email. You can see my email there.
Yeah. So guys, for people who's not in our Facebook group, I will just share the link. I will take screenshot and post it there, so for you guys can reach to Hassan or any other hiring announcement. Also, so another announcement we have from Blaze Clan. So basically, Blaze Clan, we have Kaushik, director, here with us and helping us with this community, and they are looking for full stack developers and DevOps engineers. Kaushik, do you want to add anything to this announcement?
Right. As it says, we're looking for full stack and DevOps folks. Full stack with Node.js specialization, that would be great. Anything 3 years plus experience is what we're looking at.
Awesome. And I work with the guys from Blaze Clan. They are really great team, and they have very amazing culture, man. I keep seeing on their LinkedIn winning some prizes. So if you want good culture to grow, maybe that's your place. Reach out to Kaushik. Again, I will screenshot this and put it in our Facebook group. We have Agile Wing. Okay, this is the first time I see this ad. So this is a new thing. So you guys, maybe you need to apply. They are looking as well for solutions architects and sales managers. So you can as well reach out to this email. You can screenshot now if you want, or you can check out on our group. Awesome. If you want to do, I saw someone was asking, he's hiring as well in the chat, and Kaushik refer him to our form. If you want us to do this announcement in the next meetup, just scan this QR code, fill up the form, and we will do that next month. So I will leave it just for a few seconds, and you can find it in our Facebook group as well. Again, this is a community thing. If you guys want to give a talk, any talk related to AWS, we don't always look for advanced topics. We go from level 100 to level infinity. So if you are doing any project with your company or side project, or you just started and you did something you are proud of, you want to share it with the community, take their opinion, scan this QR code as well, fill up the form, and we will reach out to you and we'll tell you where you can present at our meetup. So again, I will leave it few seconds, and I think Tarek should give next time, man. He's been working a lot with AWS lately with a lot of certificates, so definitely I'm going to reach out to you soon, Tarek.
Okay, I actually have one observation before Yasser starts. One is that Windows is not supported on Graviton 2 yet, so that's also something that I missed out. Ahilan pointed it out. Second one is who's got the highest number of certificates in this group?
I think Kaushik maybe. Anyone has more than 10 guys here?
No, Kaushik is number
I
one.
have 6. Kaushik has 11. Kaushik, you got it all or 11, right? 10.
Machine learning is still pending, yeah.
Do you have the golden Soprit, the golden jacket? You want to send it to Kaushik?
No, actually, yeah, I I am at certificate number 1, so
We actually we were thinking to do a clubhouse, me and Koshik, about like, is certificates really valuable in the market and it's really helpful to find job or get pay raise. So maybe we will do something like that and we start discussing for people who's interested in getting a certification as well.
I'd love to be on that.
Awesome. So maybe me and Koshik see some. So for people who's interested in this, just leave a comment just for us to see if really people interested in this kind of topics. So let's jump to our second speaker, Yasser. So Yasser, again, this is the second time in this year he will give a talk. So he will talk a bit about how you save secrets with AWS and Terraform, and he's certified Terraform, I think, right? Yeah. Awesome. So I will stop my sharing screen. You can just take over, Yasser, share your screen, and good luck.
Okay.
Awesome. I can see your screen clearly.
Okay. So just 3 lines about myself. I am working at Poltech, and I am certified AWS and Terraform Alibaba Cloud as well. This is my LinkedIn, guys, if you want to add me. Okay. Anybody heard about this guy? Fernando Corpato. Okay, this guy is the inventor of computer password. Okay, the title of my presentation is How to Keep a Secret. Actually, I will talk about passwords, and passwords in the IT is like, it is one of the most valuable secrets, because it will save your data. Maybe your most valuable assets is your database, and password is the first layer of. It could be one of the layers. Yeah, network layers is the first layer, but password is an important defender for your data. Okay, this guy is the first inventor for computer password. It was in 1962. The case was every programmer have their own punch cards. I know, maybe guys, we don't hear about these things. So they don't want any programmer to interfere with any other programmer work. So they invented computer password. And then the story begins. Okay, guys, do you know what this is? Okay, this is the most used password in the history.
This is my password in 2000s, bro.
Yeah, okay. And you said 2000. Actually, in my presentation, I will show you a lot of information will shock you. Actually, okay. So let's take an example. This is my cat. It is our cat. Is the Salam in the code? It is the cat shared between me and Salam. This is our cat. Okay, and her name is Moshiko. Okay, can I use her name? Okay, it's not my name. It's not 1, 2, 3. It's not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So maybe it will not be known. But believe it or not, in 2019, the UK National Cybersecurity revealed that the most hacked password is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 23 million in UK only. Okay, and also single names as Ashley, Michelle, it's used a lot. This is like 500,000 people cracked password with this. I can see like Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal.
I can see Metallica, man. Someone like really metal music naming on the band as well.
Yeah, so yeah, 50 Cent is 190,000. So I don't know why Man City is not in the list. Maybe they had less supported, or maybe they are more smarter. I don't know. Yeah, but so definitely don't use a single name here because it will be hacked. Okay, what about like adding a number here? Being more smart, I add one number, so it's a mix. This thing will not last in a password cracking tool less than it will take less than 2 minutes to be break. Okay, so we can add some special characters, numbers. Oh, it will be hard to remember. How I can remember this? Boom. This is okay. Do you believe that people are still doing this? Okay, let me tell you something.
Oh man.
Do you know who is this guy? If anybody know who is this guy, maybe he can unmute himself and tell me.
Maybe we'll let him win some credits. Do we have Kaushik some credits?
Totally, we do.
We do.
25,
So
25.
here
Okay.
you go. If you
Believe
guess
it
this...
or not, believe it or not.
Wait, sir. Give the guys a few seconds to guess. If they do, they will win some credits. So if you guys know, do let us know. Okay, looks like no one knows who's that guy. Okay, go ahead, yes.
So do you see something weird in this photo? It is a sticky note
Is
that
the
I was
password
talking
there?
about. Okay,
Oh,
and if
man.
imagine what this password is for the missile alert for Hawaii. It is the missile alert agency, and people in Hawaii took a false alarm after somebody saw this in Facebook. It is 2018. It took like 48 hours to know what happened. People in Hawaii was freaking, going to terrifying alert about ballistic missile. And this was because of this sticky note. Do you see how important is my talk now?
Oh,
Okay.
man.
Okay, who do this until now? Okay, anybody know who is this character?
Guys, anyone leave the meeting now? He's doing this.
Okay, do you know this girl? I think everybody know. Okay, now I see the chat. Okay, it's Lisa. Believe it or not, Lisa herself did this previously. This is her password. Okay, and that it's not the only. Maybe people think they are smarter. They don't use the sticky note. They will use a computer sticky note, and boom. See, sticky notes even in computer, and there is like a Wi-Fi password here and password. Okay, let's back to the reality. This is how most of the stacks are. It's like there is a database, then there is a server, and like an application server. It could be in AWS or anywhere else. Okay, and if if there is like an application in this EC2 want to connect to RDS, imagine how you want to connect. It is as like most people will put the username and password and connection string as hardcoded in this EC2. And this, believe it or not, it is the same safe. it is almost like you putting a sticky note like this. Why? Okay, now I will talk why this is not safe. Who is doing this? if you are still doing this, please don't. Okay, you can use Terraform to build your platform. Okay, so Terraform is like a scripting language. You can build infrastructure as code, and you can execute it to Amazon or any cloud. Like they are supporting most of the cloud providers. Okay, this guy is fascinated about infrastructure and code, and he wrote a script to create RDS, and he is still using this stuff. Guys, please don't do this. Why? Because anyone has access to the Git, he will get access to the script, and every computer has the access. Like maybe somebody check out this repository, and maybe he left the company. You cannot revoke his access, and no way to edit when this guy got access back. Maybe he left the company, and then maybe he use it. Another guy share it with his friend, and there is no way to edit this access. Okay, then I tried a lot of ways. I added like, okay, see this guy, he did an effort. He put some like noise and salt, too many special characters, but still not enough. Then what to do? Okay, let me ask you guys a question. If you want to keep a secret safe, what is the number of people that it is safe to keep the secret with? Is it 1, 2 guys, 3? Is your wife included? Okay.
David is saying 0, man.
Yeah, actually, the correct answer is 0. Not even yourself, Hassan. Okay, how we can do this? I will tell you how. in 2018, one of the way you can use AWS Secret Manager. In 2018, AWS introduced AWS Secret Manager. If we want to put this in the diagram, how we can do it? AWS Secret Manager will manage your secret and set it in the RDS. So every application want to access this RDS, he need to get the access to Secret Manager first, and it will ask AWS Secret Manager, can I know the secret? Okay, I will give it to you if you are authorized. And you can build the whole thing using Terraform. Okay, do you want me to show like a real code? I have a screenshot. I don't know how many time I have. Should I open like? Should I open?
We have good 20 minutes.
Okay, so I will finish in 10 minutes. But I need to show you guys a way of clean code. I cannot know any way to make this code any cleaner. So this is the a PHP client. It will call get AWS secret. It will give what is the secret ID. So it will give him something like give me the DB parameter, and you will get the JSON code with the host, username, and password. Even the application, I mean, in the Git, if this uploaded in the Git, even the host name, it will not be known. Okay, how you can do this? Okay, let me show you the Terraform code for this, and it can be in CloudFormation as well. But I'm showing this in Terraform because I think it's more readable. Yeah. So what you can do, you can generate a random password. There is one module in Terraform when you can have a random password and you can put your own criteria. I would say like I need one numeric character, and I need at least one uppercase, one lowercase. I don't want special character because I will use it in maybe in RDS or something, and then it will generate a password for you. Okay, every time you run Terraform apply, you will get the same password, but you need to add this unique ID. If you add these 3 lines, it is the trick to generate a new password every time you run Terraform apply. So every time you run Terraform apply, it will generate a new password. Put this password in the AWS Secret Manager, and you will use the same password as password for database. Okay, I want to show you something as well. So to test this, you can allow only your IP actually. So you can use a module. It will know your IP even if you are not using a static IP, maybe like a dynamic IP. When you run this Terraform at runtime, will take your IP, put it in the security group, and you can connect. To run this, let me put this.
Yasser, next time maybe you can just zoom in into the text file for the text content to be better viewed.
Sorry?
If you can just zoom in into the text file next time when you're showcasing it, because on the it's a bit small to see. Thanks.
Do you want me to just I will just repeat a few stuff. So there is a Terraform random password generator. So you will put your criteria. Maybe I need like a special. What is the length of the password you want? What is the minimum uppercase, lowercase? And you will take this password and use it in the AWS Secret Manager and in the RDS. So every time you run Terraform apply, it will generate a new password and apply it. Okay, let me show you guys what it will do. So you run Terraform apply. it will generate a new password. In the new version of Terraform, it will never show the password because it will mark it as sensitive data in the logs. People were complaining about this on like GitHub and complaining about this. Even the new version of Terraform, because you use this string as a password, it will not be appearing in the log. So you generate a new password because I run Terraform apply. It will update it in the DB. Okay, I will zoom in. I will try to zoom in. I think this command is not okay. So it will update it in the database and it will update it in the secret manager as well. Okay, you apply, and I show this is my IP currently, so I will allow my IP to access. Okay, so let's go to the PHP client. The PHP client will, as I show you, it will ask for get secret value. What is this function? Is it will only use the AWS SDK. AWS SDK get secret value. You put the secret ID, and then there is a lot of try catch stuff. You got the value, and then you parse it as JSON, and you pass it to your application. So even the developer, let's say if there is a DPA or DevOps responsible to create the database, okay, he will tell the developer, just call this secret ID. I don't need to share the host name. I don't need to share the username and password to any of the developers. I don't want to put it inside the EC2 itself. I just want to give the EC2 the access to AWS Secret Manager. And that's it. Nobody knows, zero. This is the optimal number of people knowing the application.
So we just assign a role with the access for Secret Manager.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so let's say there is for presentation purpose, I will show you how you will get the value. Okay, I hope my sign in is still valid. Okay, so this is how the AWS Secret Manager UI in AWS console, and you can retrieve the value by clicking here. Okay, it will show you what is the information here, but this call is logged by CloudTrail. So somebody, he got the access, maybe he's a DevOps or like administrator. So every click to get the value, it will be audited. If you need to break a class, let's say you need to break the class, I need the password. Okay, so this is the password. You can connect with it. Let me show you another cool feature. It's rotation, password rotation. Guys, if you are into compliance, PCI DSS, there is some compliance, like your password shouldn't be older than 90 days. And even there is another compliance. You shouldn't use any password that has been used previously. So the new password should be different than the last 4 passwords. And I have this into the yeah, it's here. Okay, so in the PCI DSS, let me present. So to be compliant to PCI DSS, this is for online payment. They are not the same as the 4 previously used password. And the AWS Secret Manager support this because it will keep every version of your AWS secret. Let's say you use this password now, but if you change it, okay, it will keep the old one and the new one. Okay, what's cool about this? You can automate an interval to rotate this password every 3 days, 30 days, let's say every 30 days. So in case that like somebody using the password and he left the company. Okay, so I will tell you a secret. Every time one of your staff leaving, you click rotate the password, and no more. You nobody will have any password anymore. Let's say if he know the password somehow by using a var dump or log. Okay, let me show you how to manipulate this. Maybe if you are not activating something like a log aggregation, something like a ELK or Elastic, like the AWS Elastic Search, and you don't activate the log aggregation. If this programmer got the access to the log, he can do a trick. Let me show you something. So he can go. I have a Node.js client. I have a PHP client as well. So what he will do, he will go and say console log cred, and he can see it in the log. Let me show you. So I have. Is it here? Yeah. So npm run test. Okay. So it's connected, but what he will do console log. Console log, he will get the credit and he lock it. Okay. Okay. Let's test. What you see now? The password is rotated. It was like less than this, and the application is still working. The application is still working. How? Because he got the new password. He got the new password from AWS Secret, and when I click the secret successfully, it went. Okay, see my screen. This is the old password. Close, retrieve. This is the new password.
So I don't care even if I rotate it because my secret manager keep calling the same endpoint, right?
Exactly.
So whatever inside there, it's not breaking my application.
Raise your hand. Raise your hand if anybody in the call, if you go and change the password in the database, the application will still work. Okay. if somebody go and change the password, okay, maybe the security guy come to you, the security team, they say, okay, we need to rotate all the password in all the DBs. Raise your hand if your application will still work in the production. I don't think many will do because somewhere in your application you are putting a hard-coded password. Maybe it's hashed, but it's the same thing. You cannot rotate it. So what this AWS Secret Manager will allow you to rotate the password as well. There are some comparison. Let me put you what is the comparison I want to present. There are similar product. There is a HashiCorp Vault as well, and there is AWS parameter store. But why I don't recommend AWS parameter store? Because there is no rotation and there is no password generation. Maybe it's changed, but as I know, there is no secret rotation. If anyone from AWS guys can confirm that AWS parameter store, it is you can save the password there. You can get the password, yeah, but there is no rotation as in AWS Secret Manager.
Even manually, I can do rotation manually from it if I want to do, or
you can do it from. Are you talking about AWS parameter store or
the one you said there's no rotation? The parameter.
The parameter store, no rotation. If you want to rotate it, you can write your own API, but it I don't think it will run automatically. AWS
right.
Secret Manager, it will do an automatic rotation based on your flavor.
Got it.
Okay. Just a comparison, HashiCorp Vault will allow you to host this open source. Like it's an open source, so you can get it and put it in your own host. But if you want to use their own managed Vault, you will pay 0.03 per hour. AWS pricing, you will pay 0.40, like 40 cents. You will pay 40 cents per month for each secret. And for each 10,000 call, you will pay only 5 cents, which is too cheap, I can say. Okay, this is the reference. Any questions?
Did you find any challenges when you start using something like that? I mean, we migrate everything almost to Secret Manager, and I really liked it. We didn't face any
Good.
issue. But from your end, did you find anything
Yeah,
you didn't like about?
a lot of legacy applications. Some of the legacy application, like the people who wrote it and even the people who hand over from the old people, all left already. So nobody knows how this application is working. I mean, this will be like tough process, especially if there is like a lot of applications there. But slowly, we are adopting it, especially because of the compliance. So people in banking and in insurance, they have a lot of compliance to be complied to. So one of the compliance is PCI now, and when PCI DSS tell you, okay, give me who got the access to the password, you can say nobody, or you can say the guy who got the administrator in maybe the DevOps guy. So you don't need to have the long list of programmers who all share the sub password. Maybe people Slack another guy, okay, can you give me the password? Okay, boom, he sent the password. And then your password is everywhere.
I saw that, man. Yes, sir. You have a couple of questions in the chat. Do you want to take one by one?
Yeah. Let me see. Magic. What is the? Okay. Where is it? What is the effort other than code changes during bootstrapping? Okay, there is two efforts. One on the. Let me put my screen back. Okay. So there is two efforts. First, the bootstrapping, as you say, and there is a second one, which is minimal changes actually, is in the application itself. So to replace this stuff, you need to call an API. It will give you this. It will give you this on runtime, and you don't need to hard code it anywhere. That's it. Can we set TTL? Can we set TTL instead of running Terraform apply? Yeah, I think I answered this question. I show one way of it, which is Terraform apply. Every time you run Terraform apply, you will generate a new password. But this TLL is the 30 days I put here. Yeah, here. So you can change this, edit rotation, and you can say, okay, I want 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, or you can put a custom of 1 day. Value should be between 1 day and 36.5, 1 year. So you can rotate your password every day. Imagine how cool it is, guys. Okay, is there
really like it. Yeah, you have one more from Koshik as well.
Can we control access to the secret manager once setup is done? All IAM user and limited access. Yes, for sure. You can go to the IAM.
Even the DevOps doesn't have access to it after that.
Yeah. So only the CEO got the access. Yeah. So you can go to IAM and access give the access to AWS Secret Manager as your flavor. What is the effort? Okay, I answered this. Magic, thanks, Hassan. Is there any other question, guys? Is the application will trigger the script manager every time? Overhead of the application, it's like you can do something like you can maybe reduce the number of time you hit this by having an environment variables that change every day. Maybe you can do something like hit this, but if you got access denied, hit again and get the new password. It is something like token expired. How you handle, guys? How you handle if the token is expired? If the token is expired, call again and get a new token. Show the actual password. I promise. Keep. Okay.
Actually, he just did in the demo, so you can just screenshot it. Yeah, but he rotated. He's smart, man.
Yeah, I did it. Okay, you know what? I want to show you something cool. Okay, Terraform destroy. I don't want any guys now to hack my database. Terraform destroy, and it will go and check whatever resource you have, and you can destroy all the resources. So you don't pay
And your
for it
website will be
anymore.
down.
You don't pay for it anymore, and nobody will hack your password after they show the screen, the YouTube.
Definitely. So don't do this mistake, guys. If you are not rotating the key, don't show it in the demo and forget
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
Great. Do we have one last question? If you guys have, do please ask Yasser. If not, reach out to him. Scan the QR code. I want to
Yeah.
start putting that in my presentation, man. I like the idea.
Thanks.
Awesome. Great. Thank you, Yasser. It was really, really fun. I really enjoyed the opening. It was really, really fun. So before we close for today, guys, do scan. Kaushik, are we receiving any feedback from previous meetups, or no one is doing the feedback? No one is helping
We
us.
have very seldom,
Right.
but we do have feedbacks. They have found it relative. We have shared that with the speakers. But yeah, we need more feedback, more value add. What will be more value add for you guys? Let us know, and we can add that in.
Correct. Especially like for our speakers, they are putting the effort, guys, to deliver these talks to the community. So maybe we should help them as well to improve in their next talk. So please do scan the QR code. Tell the speakers what do you think and what they should improve, or what we can add to the meetup as well. So I will leave it maybe just like few seconds. Do just spend 1 minute filling it up so we can improve the community. Awesome. Last thing, please do follow us on social media. I feel like I'm a YouTuber every time I do this slide. So follow us on Facebook, on YouTube. We are 100 subscribers now. So that's a cool thing. And I saw we have some videos reached to 500 views. So that's cool. Meetup, we focus on meetup.com for the invites and for reservation usually when we have on-site. So do join us as well on Meetup. And we have a LinkedIn group recently that Kaushik created. You can join us as well. We are very active on Facebook and Meetup. So just do join us, guys, on these social medias. And that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed. For me, I really enjoy both talks today. It was really fun. Kaushik, do you want to add anything before we close it for today?
I think that would be it. Looking forward to everyone to participate as well. And yeah, for the next few months, I think we'll be virtual. So take this opportunity wherever you are across the border, participate and speak as speakers as well. So looking forward to have everyone on board.
Awesome. You heard the man. Just join us, guys, and give some talks here. So see you guys next month. We already have actually 2 speakers for 2 months for next month. So we will share it early this time. And we are working on a Clubhouse event. So let's see what will happen. Just keep an eye on our Facebook. What is the Facebook ID? Okay, that's a good question. I will share it now in the chat in a minute, so you can guys join us. Let me maybe just stop my. Let me share that with you guys. As just a quick question, Nurul, how did you join us today? How did you know about the event today? Through which channel?
Is it for me?
I'm asking Nurul. She's
Oh,
asking about Facebook, but you can as well answer that because I think this is the first time I see your name here.
Yeah, I just received an email yesterday, day before yesterday. Yeah.
Through Meetup.
Yeah.
Awesome. Great. Awesome, guys. So that's it for today. See you next month then. Keep an eye on our Facebook for news. Bye-bye.
Yep. We'll be going offline now from YouTube.